How's it going, everybody? TJ here, back again with another video, and I apologize that this video is coming out like quite a bit late, considering I planned on doing 3 a week, but I mean, I need to really emphasize the people that are paying me money, and therefore this YouTube channel often takes a back seat when I get a random influx of more clients, and I've had that recently. I don't know if it's due to my Instagram stories or whatever it is, but I figured let's give an update, or let's update week 3 as best we can. This is now a couple weeks ago, so expect week 4 to come out pretty soon after this. What I'm going to do in this video, rather than just talk over different exercises and explain what the movements are and why I'm doing them, I'm going to explain how I've laid out my whole program and why I've done that, because I think it's going to give you a better insight of how to do things. If you're expecting me to lay out the program perfectly for you so that you can all go ahead and do it, then you're going to be sorely mistaken. You might as well quit this video right now, because that's not what it is. I go into the philosophy of why I do things, why I'm laying out my program, because there aren't always going to be specific sets and reps, especially at the beginning of the program, and when you're looking at the whole thing. Different body parts require different improvements, different days require different improvements, and we can improve by either adding sets or reps. So to give you an outline of what the sets and reps would be really misleading, because week 1 is going to look very different to week 4. So rather than do that, I want to outline like why I've laid it out like I have, like why I've split up the body parts, what the goals are, and then hopefully this gives you an idea of how you can produce your program. Again, I apologize if you just tuned in to see what exactly I did in the gym. I assume you didn't. I prefer to try and lay things out and give a theme for each week, rather than just lay it the day-to-day stuff, because whilst there are tons of lessons to be learned, maybe we'll give those a bit further down the line. There are so many different elements to learn. It's also, at the same time as being really interesting with the minutia, it's also kind of boring, because the overriding week to week is going to look very much the same. So let's go ahead and clip to the video of me explaining the program. I do apologize if the video and audio aren't the best. I did use my GoPro. I have since invested in a far better camera, so here's hoping for much better quality vids. But I really do hope that the information, rather than the actual video quality, is really valuable to you guys. And if it is, make sure you let me know and give a thumbs up. So let's clip on. How's it going, everybody? Teacher here, back again with another video. And this video for the Lean project, we're going to go through my training program. And rather than just take you through the program, we're going to go through the principles and methods that I'm using, because of the fact it's auto-regulation, the fact that we're going to make it dynamic, it's going to be coached by me, but it's still going to be coached and adjusted week to week. We can't have a set period of set program laid out and to say, here we go, this is what we're going to do. And it's actually more beneficial to do it this way, because you can apply that. If I just laid out my exact program, it doesn't apply to you guys, because everything needs to be individualized. Everything should be specific to you, which is why we're going to start off in this little section here, which I've highlighted in yellow, because it's probably the most important part of this video, and that's the goals. Okay, so as I've said before, the goal of the Lean project is to get as lean as possible whilst holding on to as much muscle as I can, hopefully increase in some areas. I'm not expecting it to increase, but that's the goal, right? So we're trying to hold on to as much muscle, or possibly increase whilst losing weight. So the main goal of the training isn't to do with losing weight. The main goal should be preserving as much muscle as we can. And the way that we do that is by using these 3 goals here, okay? But the main method is going to be number 1, and that is increasing the weekly volume. So that's the weight lifted, or weight times sets times reps, also times distance. So by that I mean, if you're doing a deadlift from the knee, you could increase weekly volume by having the same set, same rep, same weight, but by going from the shin. That actually will increase volume. It's something you have to consider, but it's not anything that we're going to go into too much detail in this video, because it's for another video. So what we have to do, this number 1 must be achieved. Every week we're going to add some more volume to each body part to make sure that the volume is the biggest stimulator for growth. So we have to make sure that we hit that and we increase it so that we can stimulate, hopefully growth, but more than likely retention of muscle. Okay, strength, power, speed, mobility. Those types of goals are for athletes that are competing in rugby or competing in any other sport, and those are great considerations, and they would probably, if you're an athlete, would go above increasing weekly volume, but weekly volume would definitely be up there. But for the purpose of holding on to as much muscle as we can, we must make sure that we're increasing the weekly volume. Okay. Number 2 is going to be increasing total session volume. So session by session, or like as in this session, so as in Monday, week 1 week 2 needs to have more volume than week 1. Okay, and week 3 needs to have more volume than week 2. If that doesn't happen, we can still increase weekly volume by adding more to the push session on the week, or adding more to the second push session, so that we can obviously still increase total volume throughout the week. Okay, makes sense so far? So ideally we'd like to increase session by session. If we can't do that, we're still going to make sure we definitely increase the weekly volume. Now, in an even more ideal world, week to week we're going to increase weight. Okay, so say in week 1 I do 3 by 10 on bench press. Okay, week 2, to increase weekly volume, all I have to do is add a set in, right? So that could be 4 by 10 on bench press. To increase that will then also increase total session volume, of course. And if we can do 4 by 10 and add weight, we've achieved all of these goals. Now, sometimes with a calorie restricted diet, I might not have the energy to do those extra sets or to do those extra reps. So obviously the easiest way would be to add sets in. But if I lack that, I can always make sure I adjust in the next session. And the main goal is to week by week increase the volume so that I can stimulate as much growth as possible, which will probably, because I'm in a calorie deficit, leave me holding on to as much muscle as I can. Okay, and so we'll move on. Sets. We're starting out at 100 sets total, so that's all 6 sessions a week. We're starting out at 100 sets. We're going to gradually increase that to get to around 160. Yeah, now that sets per week, right? That's every exercise, every day, right? So total sets goes to 160. Start at 100 because I know I should be able to grow with 100. Finish on 160 because that's a lot of added weight, and by then I should be reaching my maximum recoverable volume, so I get to just as much volume as I can just about recover for. And by then, in week 4, that will be week 4. Week 5 will be a deload, which means we set a new program. Okay, reps 8 to 15 at a weight of around 10 rep max. So my 10 RM for each exercise. Probably start out, I have started out a little bit lighter, but I wanted to try and get as specific as I could without saying like percentages and stuff. 8 to 15 reps, simply because this is my first time. Now I'm in a dieted state where, like, that first little bit of weight came off. I say a little bit. That first bit of weight in this picture here came off relatively easily. Like, I didn't have low energy. I didn't feel like I was dieting, or feel like I was dieting. I didn't feel hungry when I was training. Now I'm anticipating that I'm going to start to feel hungry. I'm going to start to feel fatigued, and so each session I don't have the time or the patience, especially with the fact that I'm dieting, to train any lower reps than that. So I want to get a lot of volume through. It's easier to do rather than do 10 sets of 3 where I have to focus, get myself up for those sets of 3. I'm going to do 3 sets of 10, not have to focus as much, just get in, bang it out, be done in an hour before I feel really fatigued, feel really low on energy. I should be fine, okay? So hopefully that makes sense. That's my justification for keeping all of the sets, or all of the rep ranges, between 8 to 15. Now, when I feel good, that same weight I should be able to hit to 15, but if I'm doing 4 or 5, 6 sets, I imagine that I'll fall on the lower end towards the end of the sets, and depending on my energy levels for that day. So it is definitely different. If you're doing 3 sets of 10, week in, week out, and it's just written on the script, it's going to feel more difficult one week to the next. So I'm giving myself the flexibility with the rep range, but still making sure that we're increasing the weekly volume. Okay, that's all the technical stuff out of the way. Let's talk about the body parts split, right? So I've said many times before that you don't need to train chest Monday, legs Tuesday, back Wednesday, etc, 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 and that still does apply. But as I'm pretty advanced, this bench session is going to fatigue me so much so that it makes more sense for me to rest before hitting more bench press here or more pushing sessions here. Okay, so I'm still hitting everything twice a week, if not more. Still focusing more on movements than I am muscle parts, but everything should be hit twice a week, and that allows me the time to recover. If I had lower volume sessions, so say if I did lower reps, a heavier weight, I could probably smash out a lot more full body sessions, but because I'm doing this rep range, makes more sense that I'm going to feel a little bit sore the next day from my push session, which means I've got 3 full days to recover before I hit it again. These sessions are very different, but we'll get into that in a second. Okay, so Monday push, Tuesday legs, Wednesday's off because this is my hardest session of the week, so I have 1 day off per week. This is also the day I do most of my client updates, so I'm sat a lot, so I don't really want to be training. I want to have the focus to be on work, and I can have that full day to recover. Then we've got Thursday pull, Friday push, Saturday legs, and then Sunday pull, and then we're going to go straight into week 2 or whatever the next week is. Again, I don't know why everyone has to have the weekends off. I like training on the weekends because I can get up, I've got time to train, I can enjoy my session. I haven't got to be somewhere like I would do on a Monday to Friday where I've got like time constraints. So I have no time constraints for these sessions. Not that they're going to take 5 hours, but they're going to be more enjoyable. Let's move on because this is taking forever. Each session has a different emphasis. So push, bench press. Alright, so the camera ran out of space. Still want to get through this video as quick as possible now that I've freed up some space. Should be fine. Okay, we're talking about the different sessions. So, and then the last one we've got pull. There's 2 pull sessions. One's a row and one's a horizontal pull. One's a vertical pull emphasis. So what you'll see here is that each day has its own dedicated lift or movement that I'm really trying to put my effort towards, and that means that everything else is kind of secondary, right? So with the bench press, so your push can be chest and shoulders, chest emphasis almost, shoulders emphasis almost, quad emphasis almost, hamstring and glute emphasis almost, rhomboids almost, lats almost, okay? Kind of makes sense, right? Hopefully we're all following along. Still hit some quads this day, still hit some hamstrings this day, still will hit some chest this day, but at lower volumes because these sessions are going to be able to take it out of me, but I still want that extra stimulus. Remember I've said about how the more times you can hit a certain muscle, the more opportunities you have to grow, and that's what we're trying to get at here, but still recover for the big session. So then for the extras, the arms and the abs can definitely tolerate a lot more volume because, like for example, your biceps only this big, there's only so much damage you can do with that muscle, there's only so much damage you can do with, 10 to 25 kilos of weight when you're curling it, right? So it's not like a squat where I'm operating at 120 kilos, that's going to cause a lot more damage than whatever I can do with a curl. Therefore, we need to train them more frequently to get more volume. So that's why we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 arm sessions and 1, 2, 3, 4 ab sessions, okay? It's literally going to be 2 to 4 sets at the end, maybe 5 or 6 for a couple arm movements and a couple ab movements. But overall, it's not as much in comparison because of the weight used and the weight moved compared to the bigger muscles and the bigger lifts. Hopefully that makes sense. Weekly adjustments, as I said, we're going to try and add sets in is the easiest way to add weekly volume and add total session volume. We're going to try and add weight because it's easier to add weight if you're only adding sets rather than adding reps. So say if you did 3 times 10 on 100 kilos, it'd be more difficult to do 3 times 12 on 100 kilos than 4 times 10. Make sense? It's easier to add a set in. Obviously, eventually it's going to take too long. The sessions are going to drag out too much. But overall, it's an easier way to add volume in, and I want to make it as easy as I can for this first period of the Lean project. So, that wraps up the video. Hopefully this makes more sense of my program. Hopefully you guys understand now what I'm trying to achieve and use this sort of template, this sort of reasoning to figure out your own programming. Let me know if you have any questions below, and if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.